The Brain Network is a really great newly formed organization here in London of like-minded organizations that are all working with people who are affected by some neurological issue. It comes together to help provide education, to increase access to services, and to support the people that are living in the community with neurological issues.
I think one of the greatest things that this particular brain health network is really focused on is looking at gaps in services in programs that currently exist within Southwestern Ontario. And so one of the things we really are looking at is the caregiver journey and the needs of caregivers and the supports that do currently exist and supports that don't exist, and really focusing on how we can put some energy and time into collectively and collaboratively making the caregiver journey a little bit easier for those who are impacted by neurological and mental health issues.
Caregivers get pretty down in their day-to-day routine. They are dealing with their husbands. They don't want to go to a support group, or I don't, and talk about that. I want to go and I want to have a relief from that. I'd like to have some place, and maybe it's a matter of having a place to go. And I don't know, if you want to just sit and play cards, watch a movie, do something that's relaxing.
My name is Brian Woods, and I have a son that has schizophrenia. He's 38 years old and was diagnosed almost 20 years ago with schizophrenia.
My name is Rita Stukic, and my son is who I'm the caregiver for. He was 19 back in January 2004. He was just home from school. He had a full soccer scholarship in New York at Fordham University, and he had come home for a visit. The night before he was supposed to go back, he decided he wanted to go out with a few of his friends from high school, and I got a phone call about 3:30 in the morning from a friend that hadn't gone out with them, telling me that they had been in an accident, not being able to describe anything to me. And then I had to call the police to find out what was going on. They told me that he was at South Street Victoria Hospital, and when I called there, the nurse had said, "You better come."
My biggest challenge is my expectations of my son, and sort of matching those up with his expectations of himself, which there's quite a difference there. So I'm always struggling with that. I've had some counseling. My wife and I have been involved in a parent support group. The PEP organization was the first support group that we were involved with.
He's here today. He's pretty functional. But he does still need to have some attendant looking after him. So I'm the one that's living with him, and we just go day to day. And he has improved immensely, but it's been a long journey, 11 years so far. So.
Hi, I'm Penny Thompson. My husband is Brian, and Brian was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in May of 2011. And so I am his caregiver 24/7.
Hi, my name is Adrienne Arding, and I'm a caregiver to two people, both my husband and my father.
Key message for caregivers is that knowledge is power. And if your loved one receives a diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease or some form of dementia, it can be really scary, but it's really important that you get knowledge, you get information, and you find out what are the things that you can put in place to ease with the transitions and with providing caregiving. And also, don't be afraid to advocate for services. There are lots of community support services in place that are there for you, and it's really important that you take the time and you advocate and get those services.
We're hoping that because the fact that we're all sharing our information together, that people can network the individuals so that they can get the treatment that they're looking for or the services that they're looking for in a timely manner.
So we learned a lot about schizophrenia and mental health. And in a way, it's too bad that we didn't know that information sooner, because we might have been able to help our son before or quicker than what we were.
At the very beginning, the resources that we used were, of course, the doctor, the community support that we had for his physiotherapy, his OTs, the rehabilitation team that we had in place for him. He got involved at the Cornerstone Clubhouse, which is run by Dale Brain Injury Services, and he's there 2 days a week. He feels very much himself as much as he can. He works on a couple of the newsletters they have there. He helps out in the kitchen if he has to. He just enjoys being there. He feels accepted. He's made new friends, and he feels productive. He just feels really good about himself. So those are things that have all come into place.
The resources here in London, my first stop was the Alzheimer's Society. They gave me counseling, which was really helpful. Then they have educational programming, which was excellent, absolutely excellent.
I think just the fact that caregivers are extremely important in the process, and oftentimes they don't see themselves as that important because they're not the one with the disease. However, they play a very significant role, and it's so important to look after them.
I think my biggest challenge is maintaining a schedule with doctor's appointments and meals and shots and meds and trying to keep everything balanced. It gets pretty stressful sometimes. Best thing I can say about being a caregiver is you have to make sure that you can have time for yourself, even if it's only 2 hours. Here and there, it does wonders. You come back and you're full of energy, you're more relaxed. It makes it easier for everybody. Don't forget about you.
It can be overwhelming and it can be scary, and sometimes you can feel really alone. You're not alone. There are supports that you can access, whether it's family and friends or also the more formal supports like the community support services. Don't be afraid to ask for help, and sometimes you may have to educate others on what it is that you need. Don't be afraid to do that. It's really, really important.
I think the one other thing that I might add is to be good to yourself. It's not easy, but you do need to take care of yourself. You might have a couple hours to run out and get all these errands done, but maybe you know what? You should just go get your nails done. And never mind the list, or just do whatever else you can do, because the list will always be there. And sometimes when everything else is falling apart and your nails look pretty, that might just do it for you.
And so this is what the work of the Brain Health Network is really focusing on, is looking at that caregiver journey and collectively seeing how we can support our community in London and area a little bit better.